Hello, everybody. I'm Eric Vansel.
And I'm Daryl Sanders.
And welcome to our Mandalorian review. That's right. We said that we were going to start making more shows, that's separate from our podcast, our main show. And this is one of them. We decided not to try to cram the Mandalorian reviews and all the podcasts because this is an ongoing show, at least through December. So expect to see us reviewing 2 episodes basically at once. So today, we're reviewing episodes 3 and 4 of The Mandalorian. So let's get right into this, man. What'd you think?
Man, awesome.
I think that this was definitely a step up from episodes 1 and 2, hands down.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely get to see a lot. The biggest things I can take from these 2 episodes is that now we're really starting to see the humanity within the Mandalorian.
Yes.
He's we can see his skill set as far as, being a really good bounty hunter and whatnot. But I think, with the episode 3 called The Sin, he went against the guild, and that was like the big thing. And, he kind of got attached to this whole Baby Yoda. And I think that's because he understood. I think it kind of takes him back to when he was a child. Something happened to him when he was younger.
Well, we know that, he was around during the Clone Wars, and obviously he was victimized, like a lot of them. The Mandalorians ended up finding him, but yeah, it definitely was, I thought, something that was giving us a little bit more character development with the Mandalorian. We could see, like you said, a little bit more of his humanity. We learned more about the Mandalorians, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, definitely. As far as like how the guild kind of like views the whole dealing with the Empire or former Imperials, how they kind of really don't like that, but how they still banded together because he was one of them. This is the way,
Did you actually think that he was going to give Baby Yoda away? Because it kind of looked like he was going to.
I mean, yeah, at first, because when he first kind of brought it up, like, well, when he asked him what he's going to do with it, that was kind of like the first, like, okay. But then he's like, well, look, you've been paid, what are you asking questions for? And it's like, it's not what the guild is, but he's like, oh, yeah, he's got a point. And yeah, I thought after a while, he was going to let it go. But then once he asked, Carl Weathers' characters, which is like, I think his Gar or something. I'm going to get the names eventually once I see enough.
Yeah, I know.
See him mentioned enough. But once he asked him about it, I knew it was like, okay, he's going to go back for this thing.
Yeah.
And the way that he kind of did it was like really, really cool.
Yeah, I thought it was great because it really showed us that. And of course, the end scene where, the Mandalorian guild came to his aid and everything.
Yeah.
It's like, I just thought that it was really cool, first of all, that we got a little bit more into the lore of the Mandalorian, but also the fact that we got to see these guys in battle.
Yeah. Yeah, especially because they hated being in the shadows because that was the whole thing, that only one can go out at a time. So I thought that was interesting. I was like, oh, okay.
That's what I mean. We found out so many interesting things about them, that we didn't know. Because remember, of course, our whole exposure to them before was just Jango and Boba Fett, and really they weren't even Mandalorians,
right? And neither is this guy. We found that out in episode 4. He wasn't born on Mandalore, or he wasn't of that race, so to speak. He's kind of adopted into it.
Yeah, like a foundling, I think they were called.
Exactly.
And that's the thing, going from episode 3 into episode 4. I thought it was really cool that we got to not only explore the inner workings of the Mandalorian culture, the bounty hunter guild in a way, all these other little things. But the fact that I think what it's doing is it's showing us a Star Wars universe, finally.
Yeah.
That is expanded beyond the normal, because the show feels so different.
It does. It definitely does. One of the things you and I were talking about this off camera, but this is a show that my grandfather and I have really kind of got locked into. He loves Westerns, of course. That's kind of what he grew up on. But, of course, he loves Star Wars. So this is kind of like the best of both worlds for him. And as I was sitting watching Chapter 4, The Sanctuary, with him, because my grandfather being...
What a phenomenal episode.
It was. And once again, beautifully shot. I mean, it's just like from the first opening scene when you see those little shrimp type things or whatever they were in the water.
Yeah.
Those things were cool. And then how they just all the cinematography is beautiful.
Well, it's cool because you get to see these people that are in the universe that are just they're pretty much at the mercy of all this stuff that's going on. They're not rebels. They're not Imperials. They're not
Just people just trying to
invested in this
live.
war. Yeah, they're just people that are trying to survive, and they have their own problems. And
Mhm.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
You know?
And yeah, my grandfather was, I was joking with him because he's a Vietnam vet.
Oh,
And that totally looked like Vietnam to him. And
Mhm.
I was like, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is just, it looks like Vietnam. He's like, yeah, those look like the rice patties that we saw over in
Mhm.
Vietnam. And just the way that even when they were training them how to fight, it's like, oh yeah, this is exactly how it was over. So I like the way that Dave Filoni and Favreau kind of like use real life occurrences to but they kind of put it in the Star Wars universe. Like even the imitation soccer ball was just like a bunch of sticks kind of cobbled together. They made like a little soccer ball for those kids, or just the way that they set up the world was really cool. Even the way the Mandalorian was talking to the little baby Yoda on a ship, it's like, don't touch that. It's just like,
again, it's bringing out his
Yeah.
humanity. And I think we should point out that, so episode 3
Mhm.
was directed, of course, by Deborah Chow,
yeah,
who's going to be directing the Obi-Wan series. And
Yes.
that episode gave me really high hopes
absolutely.
for the Obi-Wan series now.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 4 was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think that there was a lot that was brought to that episode. If you're a Baby Yoda fan,
Yeah.
you're really going to be a Baby Yoda fan now, because I mean, the adorable level just
Yes.
shot up immensely
Yeah, it's like
for
through
this
the roof.
episode.
It's kind of like back when what was those, like back when people kind of had the little baby trolls, or those
Yeah.
I want to say gigapets, but it was like one of those little things that was like a phenomenon at one point where all the girls and everybody kind of had this little babies walking around.
Well,
and,
we came close to it with the Porg.
yeah,
The
the
Porgs
porgs.
were
Yeah.
kind of, everybody went Porg crazy, but I mean, it's so funny how Baby Yoda is developing in his own right
Yeah,
as a character. I mean, yes, he's like ridiculously cute in this episode,
Mhm.
but you can see the relationship growing between
Yeah.
Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian. I mean, I thought it was really hilarious when he was like, "Okay, stay put," or whatever.
yeah. And then he opens
Turns
the door.
around and it's
he's
kind of like
right there.
he's right there,
He's
and
just
it's like,
it's like his sidekick.
yeah,
You
Baby
know-
Yoda is basically like with him.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, no, we're in this together, kind of a thing.
Yeah, even the whole how that one little colony, I guess, kind of like gravitated to Baby Yoda, and they loved it.
Yeah.
and they, those little girls it was kind of touching. I was like, I'm gonna miss you so much, and
Mm-hmm.
Yoda, you can even tell the little Baby Yoda was kind of like sad because the ears kind of went down. Just little things like that was really cool.
I thought that it was funny too how the village kids were all grossed out by him eating that.
Oh yeah, and he kind of spit it out.
But it just shows you that the humanity
Mm-hmm.
and the character develop and the relationships between each of the characters are really going to take precedence in this show.
Yeah,
Even more, and this show has stellar action,
definitely.
but still, it's got a lot of character development. And I thought it was really cool, speaking of that, how, the Mandalorian is kind of showing, it's almost like a little love interest thing going on.
Yeah.
And he was about to let her take off his helmet, and,
Yeah.
which of course he's not supposed to do, because then he could just, lose his place and
Yeah,
with the rest of the Mandalorians or whatever. I just thought that was a really poignant moment.
yeah.
Something that I didn't think that we would get to this early, by the way.
Right, and I was kind of wondering like how far we were going to end this. I'm glad you brought up the character development, because what did you think of Gina Serrano?
I thought she was I really liked her character a lot.
I did
and
too.
I did not expect to. I
Okay.
mean, I expected that she would be cool and that the action scenes that she would be in are cool, but it's no secret that she's not like the greatest actress in the world.
Mhm.
But I actually thought that her character was really, really well done.
Yeah,
And I thought that she did a great job
Mhm.
finding that balance between, being kind of a hardened former rebel soldier, basically,
Mhm.
and also having a little bit of a heart too,
Yeah,
and being affected by, this new, because, basically everything that she knew was taken away.
yeah, and the fact that she actually gave the Mandalorian a run for his money because like,
Well, I like the
She-
fact that a lot of people, I mean, if you notice, he gets his butt kicked a lot.
mm-hmm.
I mean, he somehow perseveres. Either Baby Yoda helps him out or
some form of trickery.
Somebody,
Yeah.
you know, like, and of course, the third episode, we saw that the rest of the Mandalorians came to his aid, but
right.
he's not like this invincible, you know,
like
super fighter type of guy. I mean, he's obviously highly skilled, but I like the fact that they ground it in reality, that he's not the most powerful guy.
Right.
You know?
Now, what did you think about between episodes 3 and 4? The nods or homages to other series or movies that we've seen, such as, I'll give you an example. One of my favorites was the scene where Baby Yoda's walking through that little, I guess, canteen, if you will, and the little loth cat was there, and I was just like, oh, okay, they actually made like a real live version of a loth cat. From
it is cool. Yeah, it's very cool how they're bringing in little Easter eggs from, you know, the movies or the series, like you said, in Rebels. Yeah, I thought that you could tell, and I've been telling a lot of my friends that this series is being made by super fans.
Yeah, definitely.
True super fans. Not that JJ and Ryan Johnson weren't fans, but I don't know. For some reason, it seems like Favreau and Filoni are one of us.
Yeah.
And they get it. You know what I mean? And it's like they're doing the things that I think a lot of the Star Wars fans want them to do. And I think that's the reason why The Mandalorian is so popular with everybody.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I love all this stuff. Like, and bringing the Scout Walker in.
Yeah, I said the whole AT-AT thing is...
You know, and it was kind of like they were trying to get it to step in the ditch. And they were almost pulling a little bit of an Endor Ewok kind of thing. Like,
exactly. Yeah, it had that vibe. It had that vibe too. Even my grandfather noticed, like, okay, they're on a swamp thing, and they had Baby Yoda's coming. Hey, that's where Luke first met. I'm like, yeah,
it's
so, you know, you kind of see those little beats there and little nods to, you know, other things that we've seen.
And I'm sure, honestly, if I watch this, you know, any of these episodes like 2 or 3 times, I know I'm going to pick up a lot of stuff I haven't even picked up yet.
Yeah,
as far as a lot of the little Easter eggy type stuff. Which I think is fantastic because they're balancing enough nostalgia, but they're also taking Star Wars in a different direction, yet not betraying the traditions. And I think that that's what's so important. And I think that's what the movies have missed.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, I completely agree. You know, it's definitely an interesting way of showing the universe through a different lens, even with like, and I mean that literally because, you know, with the Mandalorian, like I thought this was cool. I was kind of joking with my grandfather. He had the whole like thermal scan, like Geordi LaForge.
Oh,
where he's like picking up footprints and he could see what was, and I'm like,
this kind of reminded me of Predator.
Yeah, that too.
You know, it was kind of the same type of thing, I'm glad you brought that up because there's all these little things that the Mandalorian armor and everything has.
Yeah.
That you always knew about. Like, I love the fact that he keeps using a flamethrower all the time. Because that was something that we kind of saw.
Yeah.
Or at least knew about earlier. But, you know, we never really saw it used to this extent. And it's really cool to see him using all these enhanced little things. I love the whole new armor.
Yeah, the new armor looks sweet.
The new armor's really cool. It kind of has that Phasma vibe.
Yeah.
Sorta.
Yeah. And then also has those like he's constantly like upgrading stuff.
Yes.
So like what do you call it? Like the whispers or something like that, the little baby missiles that he kind of has stored in that.
Right.
And episode
he's
3.
not supposed to. Doesn't he only have like a limited amount of them?
Yeah, he's supposed to use it, you know, sparingly.
Yeah, sparingly, yeah.
Yeah. But they pack a punch and how he got out of that whole situation with all those stormtroopers. So that was cool.
I really enjoyed seeing him go and storming, no pun intended, that whole base, and he was taking out the stormtroopers because it feels like Star Wars.
Yeah, and it was like a whole espionage thing.
Yes, absolutely. And it's stuff that we've always wanted to see, but never really could. And again, this goes back to what we had been saying on a lot of our podcast episodes, that when you do these extended series like this, essentially what this is like is it 8 or 10 episodes?
I'm not sure. It might be 8.
Yeah, I don't remember what they said.
I think the first season 8, and I think the second might be 10.
Maybe. But whatever it is, I mean, you figure now you're getting. I mean, if each one of these is say around 30 minutes or so, you're gonna essentially get like a 5-hour movie or something. You know, it's like versus cramming everything in like 2.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this is the kind of thing that really makes it exciting for Star Wars fans moving forward.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, I think this is something we talked about, early when we first heard about the Mandalorian. It's like, okay, we knew from the beginning, like we felt like this was going to knock it out the park.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it was, but it's just like out the gate, we kind of knew like.
That's true. We did. We actually had a good feeling about this.
Yeah. And I think it's definitely lived up to his expectations.
And that's
so
what
far.
I was afraid of. Because I was like, is this thing going to live up to its expectations or is it going to.
And it's exceeded, in a lot of different ways.
It's actually exceeded my expectations.
Mine as well. And then, like I said, bringing my grandfather into it, and that's. I like hearing his commentary because he's, of an older generation. So he's in his 70s watching this stuff. So, but he loved it because he's a huge Game of Thrones fan. And he's like, man, I could really get into this show. It's easy to follow. It has a simple little story, but it's impactful enough. And it gives you just a right amount of.
I'll tell you, man,
it
makes you keep wanting more. Like
and that's
every
exactly
time
that's
the show
exactly
ends,
what
I'm
he's
like,
yeah, that's what he said.
Really?
He's like, man, I was just getting comfortable into this thing. And then that's one of the things that he's always kind of like complaining about. I was like, man, like as soon as I really get truly invested in this particular episode, it's over with. And it's like, man, so now I got to wait a whole nother week. And that's where he and I had the conversation of, should they have dropped a whole season at once or done it week to week? And we both agreed that it's better week to week because at least.
Well, yeah, I mean.
Because then you could binge watch it and you'd be done like in 2 days and now you want more.
And the thing is, the week to week thing is cool. And from their standpoint, it's better for them because it's doing what it gets everybody talking and everybody's on the same page. Because the problem is when they drop it all at once, somebody might only have time to watch a couple episodes and somebody else might have watched the whole thing. And, the spoiler thing becomes a problem.
Absolutely.
Whereas from a business standpoint and from, I guess, like a fan perspective, this is better. But, I mean, everybody is a fan wants the whole thing at once.
Yeah, definitely.
It's really difficult to do this whole week to week thing. I'm not used to it.
Yeah.
I kind of like having the whole thing dropped at once, but I have to admit there is some benefit to it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing where it's going to go next.
Well, yeah, because the last we left on the end of chapter 4 was they had like another bounty on the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda, and he was about to take out Baby Yoda until Gina Carano character took him out. Which was because I was really thought that he actually did it.
I was sitting there thinking the same thing, like,
but
nothing's sacred. But I'm like, no, there's no way they're gonna kill him off now.
But you know what? Honestly, you know what I thought was going to happen? I thought he was going to shoot him, but Yoda was going to sense. Well, Baby Yoda's going to sense it and actually block it,
block the bullet.
Yeah, or
bolt.
Yeah, and that would have been like, and everybody in the town would have probably stopped and froze, like, whoa.
Yeah, you need to go.
Like,
you got that kind of power, you need to get out of here. This is either that or they would have loved it. Hey, come here and pick up this log or whatever.
So that's what I thought was going to happen. And I thought it was going to kind of raise all these questions within the town. Like, okay, who are you guys? Because you guys seem to have come out of nowhere.
That's
and then now.
The thing, man. It's like, it's hard to see where this is going.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even really predict where it's going.
No, and I love it though.
I know.
I do love it.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love it. It's just kind of weird because I every time I'm like, I have no idea what they're going to do in the next episode. And that's so cool.
Absolutely.
It is worth noting, though, that apparently Rian Johnson has been trying to direct an episode in the second season.
Are you serious? Now that I haven't heard. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, there's been rumblings about that. I'm like,
the fans were like, don't screw up the
Mandalorian. Yeah, right. You ruined the Mandalorian.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would be. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if Rian Johnson proves himself again in the film, because that's the thing, you don't want to take something that's working and then you give it to somebody and then they drop the ball. Now, the only difference is I can see if you have Ryan Johnson just do one episode and a success,
Mhm.
because then you could just move on. You got different directors, so it's not
Yeah,
like
I
he's
mean,
got control of the whole
exactly. And
series.
It's only like a 30-minute episode.
So
It's
he
like,
has a bad one. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
any TV show has a bad episode.
Sure.
So of
I mean, you
course,
don't want it in season 1, obviously, but season
Exactly.
2, I mean, we could do that.
if he did, then that kind of shows like, all right, maybe he shouldn't do Star Wars because he's already kind of
Well,
muddled
as
up.
far as we know, though, he still has that trilogy,
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you gave him an episode of The Mandalorian or something
and then he
that's
proves himself, and then everybody's all like, "Hey, maybe his trilogy will be good."
exactly, and or if it fails, then it's kind of like, well, maybe we still got time to get rid of him and before he destroys anything else.
Exactly. It's like, all right, you're gonna have to go.
Yeah, for that reason, you're out.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, what did you guys think? Did you see hopefully if you're watching this, you saw episode 3 and 4 because, spoiler alert at the end of the show, right? Let us know what you guys thought in the comments below. And, like I said, we're going to do like 2 episodes. So the next time we'll do episodes 5 and 6, probably in a couple of weeks. And other than that, follow us at Head to Head SW on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hit the little subscribe button. And also the notification bell, and like I said, let us know what you guys think, and we'll see you next time.